Hey guys, this is part 2 of 2, and we talked to Brandon Wong about how he quit his stable, full-time, great paying career to become a full-time Etsy seller. Today, we're finishing up our conversation with Brandon Wong about how he made the jump to become a full-time Etsy seller that owns 4 shops and generates multiple 6 figures per year on Etsy. Okay, you guys need to hear this guy's inspirational story. We talk about Etsy ads, ranking different niches, profit margins, so much more. So again, if you haven't watched part 1 of our conversation, link is in the description below. So watch that first, and then we'll watch this. But yeah, let's jump back into the finishing conversation with Brandon, and we'll jump in now. What's like the top limit? Is there a limit? Is there a ceiling to like how much revenue you can do on Etsy? Like, what are your thoughts and experience around this?
The ceiling part depends on the category, right? I mean, if your strategy is only doing SEO through Etsy, then there is a cap unless you're doing external marketing for any niche you're doing, right? Because there's only a certain amount of people you can reach from Etsy if you're only doing SEO.
There's only so many people searching for that specific type of product on Etsy at the time. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you want to scale that up, you can totally do it. You can just go outside, find influencers, any kind of marketing you can do. And in terms of the category, I think they're all different. They're not going to be all making the same revenue.
Sure.
Right. So from my wall art, it was a certain amount. And then compared to my plant shop, which was definitely like a lot more, just because the price went higher, less competition, way more demand during this time. So it does ranges. And when I tell someone like, hey, what's your goal? Like, are you trying to make this a full-time thing? Or are you just trying to do a side hustle? Right? Whatever you want to achieve, you can do it. But okay, figure out the category you want to do, figure out the top sellers, how much you're making. And that's the beauty of using Everbee, right? Because you can actually find how much people are making. And from there, you can set a goal for yourself. Pretty cool. They have 30 listings here. They started 8 months ago, which you can also find out from Everbee. And then you can really know exactly what got them there. And then you can be like, okay, cool. If I do all the steps properly, I can approximately get the same amount. It's a good way to figure out what you want to do.
Yeah, I like it. Because basically you're setting a goal and then you're working backwards, right? Step by step, like you're reverse engineering it, right? In a way, like you're just saying, okay, they have 3 listings. And then if I just do that, not that you have to have like just 3 listings. We all know that it's not that easy, but in theory, it is that simple. That's what you're trying to say. And I agree. When someone asks you, hey, is it possible to make $100,000 on Etsy? What would your response be?
Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, it's definitely possible for that.
Tell me more. Tell me like why you think that's possible. Tell me like, give us some inspiration. Like
Cody, you trying to
give the audience maybe some love. Like a lot of people do not think it's possible, man. Like to be honest, like I talk to sellers and they just think it's impossible. They think Etsy's dead, and I'm trying to tell them the opposite.
But that's the beauty of why you have Everbee, right? You're literally proving to people this you can make this much money. Yeah, from my own personal experience, I was able to achieve that from the first year and a half from doing my first shop, and then after that, I was doing the plant shop and everything else. Obviously, I was able to get more, but that's a different story because I have a team behind this one.
Cool.
But overall, even if one doesn't get you there, let's say if you're picking a more niche category, which you're dominating in, but there's not enough demand, like we mentioned earlier with the SEO. Let's say that they can't get 100K from that, but now you understand the whole process of it. Now you just recycle that on a different category, right? Do something similar, and then just keep hitting them, and have a bunch of different Etsy shop streams that can get you 100K if you wanted to do that. So it's definitely possible, and for anyone that doesn't believe it, for me, I guess it's our job to really explain to them, like, guys, we're showing you the data here. Like, we're showing the sales. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think people are just a little bit uneducated around it. That's what it seems like. Like they don't really realize like how much money is actually flowing through the platform. Like Etsy's gross GMV, their volume, right, through the platform is like $60 billion, something crazy, right? It's like, that's a lot of capital coming through just a piece of software in the world, right? A marketplace like Etsy. The idea that like you can't carve out a little tiny sliver of that and turn it into your full-time income, like it's not only possible, it's like, it's probable if you do the right steps, I think, as long as you.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it is all this stuff about like tactical skills and everything, right? These are all things that you need to know, but one layer above that, it's like, I just want to tell people just to, believe in yourself, that kind of stuff. And these kind of conversations, I think ultimately that's what it is. Then from there, you can learn everything else. Once you have that that true belief of what you can do.
That's a good point, man. Like, I mean, that's kind of like the core of all of it, right? It's if you don't have the belief that one, it's possible, and two, that you can do it, then you're not gonna be able to do anything, at the end of the day, right?
Yeah. Like yeah, exactly. Like why do people spend 4 years studying super hard for a certain career? It's because the system made them believe that after 4 years of studying, you will get a job, right? But people, if they have that same mindset on entrepreneurship, onto starting an Etsy store, knowing that it is possible as long as you put in the work, because you believe in it so much, you're willing to put in the work, then you will get there.
I love it, man. Like that's like what I kind of wanted to bring out today is like hear from you, right? It's like you had a full-time job, you had a full-time career that was stable and like was good. It could have provided for your family or future family, right? And it would have been fine. But like you saw another opportunity, you took that approach, or you took that leap and made it work. And that's super cool. I think it's inspiring to so many people, seriously.
Yeah, but I understand like everyone's in different situations, and some people are willing to take more risks. At that time, I didn't have home or anything. So yeah, I'm not saying like, oh yeah, I want to do this, but yeah, everyone has different situation and circumstances.
Totally, I can see that. Because you're so well versed in different niches, what are your thoughts around profit margins? What should people, Etsy sellers, be like targeting for, like, let's say the print on demand niche, or let's say like another niche? You said you have digital products niche too that you're in. What are your thoughts around profit margin and all those?
Yeah, so print on demand, from my experience, if you're doing shirts compared to doing art, comparing doing like pillowcases, they're all slightly different. Phone cases, all slightly different. But generally, I do around 50%. It's a good starting part. And I also just, see competitors, back to that, what they're retailing it, and do the math. Okay, cool. They're selling it for $20. Printful or Printify, or whatever you're print on demand you're doing, you can buy for $10. Okay, so that's around 50%. Cool, maybe I can do that. And maybe I can allocate a little bit of that to Etsy ads. Okay, maybe I can make it work. And then ask yourself, is that what I want for my profit margins? Am I okay with taking home like $6 after Etsy fees and everything? But generally, that is kind of the range I go for. And if you have amazing designs, like really cool, unique stuff, then maybe you can bump it up, like sell more than your competitors. And in terms of digital products, that at the end of the day, that's kind of, most of that is just straight profit, other than the fees and the ads. So that one is totally up to you. And for new sellers, I always recommend just creating a massive sale, creating such a good value, even if you're not making that much, even making like $1 or $2 or whatever it is, which is fine, because I think the goal is just to generate sales, generate reviews, and then over time you can increase it back to the price that's competitive.
Okay.
But that's kind of what I did from the last couple of shops, is the strategy of just really giving a good value. And because you're not losing any money if you're doing digital products. So I just have the best value ever, and then they can generate those things, sales, reviews, and then boost it up afterwards. So in terms of margins, I think it's probably you can do is digital.
Totally. Yeah. Kind of depending on the niche, we always talk about margins and how important they are to know. Like a lot of sellers just don't know their margins. And I understand that if you're a creator and you're not necessarily, haven't been in the business world, like you don't talk about profit margins, you don't really know how to calculate those things or why they're even important and how to use that information. But as you get into the business world, you start to realize, oh wow, it's extremely, extremely important to just understand your numbers, just so you know that you're not burning money and wasting money on ads or like on production costs and all those things, so you can kind of figure out what you're actually going to take home after all of it. And surprisingly, like not enough sellers know their profit margins.
Yeah, definitely. That's super, super important, especially for, physical products and print on demand categories. I agree.
Totally. Yeah. And it seems like the majority of the margins sellers that I talk to is like 30 to 50% profit margins is like where it's averaging out on Etsy. Obviously you can go less if you need to, if it's an expensive product and you can make it work. That's the beautiful thing about, like you said, digital products is like it's 80% profit margins, 90% profit margins, after you make the thing one time.
Yeah.
What's a process or maybe a strategy that has worked for you and that you maybe recommend? Like, let's say, when you create a new listing, like how do you get it showed up on rank, right? How do you get ranked on Etsy? And how do you, let's talk about maybe ranking on Etsy and the struggles with it and things that maybe work and the success that you've had and some of the failures. Like, let's talk about ranking.
Sure. Yeah. Back to the competitors, titles, tags, images, price point. I think those are kind of the main elements that I kind of focus on. Sure, it is on par with the top sellers. And if you're in a category that's the stats show that it's good, supply and demand ratio, then the chances are you're gonna be seen, right? You throw some ads. But yeah, hopefully that answers the question. But that's kind of
that's perfect. And I'll go deeper. Like, now you said supply and demand ratio. Tell us what do you mean by
that? Meaning how much people are searching for it. Let's say we're just doing search-based volume, right? How many people are searching for it compared to how many competitors and how many listings are in that keyword category. Okay. And that ratio will let you know, is it a good one? How competitive it is, how saturated it is, how easy it is to get impressions from that.
I love it. Okay, cool. And then what do you, let's say it is a good search to, that ratio, right? Search to demand ratio. Then let's say, and then that's within your niche, what's your next step typically in the process? Like, do you just go and like look at those, like do you use analytics to like pull and like look at the data, or like how do you decide, which products you actually are going to make that will probably sell well?
Yeah, I mean, after that first step, I would just go back to getting. We're talking about physical products, or are we talking about
sorry, I know it's super broad. Let's talk about digital products because they're so easy to make.
Yeah,
not easy, but you know what I mean. Quicker to make.
Then yeah, exactly. You just reverse engineering. I think something that we keep kind of going back to, and something that I love doing. I think it's a proven strategy and the safest strategy and most like low risk strategy of it. But yeah, once you figure out the keywords, and to be honest, one of the things I've been telling people now is actually start buying some of the competitors' files. Let's say we're doing digital, right? Mm-hmm. I would actually say purchasing some of them. You want to know, even in normal e-com world, any kind of world you're in doing e-com, like you want to see what your competitors are doing, actually the products. Yeah. And so, because people always ask me, oh yeah, I want to get into this niche. What files do I do? What the ratios are? How do I name these? Do I do a guide? And I just say, oh, well, you just, purchase some of your competitors. You know exactly right away. You'll like understand better than anything if you just have them go through the buyer mindset. So that's kind of the next step I would take is to really understand it, buy some of the products. And as you go through it, you're going to be like, I see what's happening. I would actually improve on this. I would improve on that. I would do this differently. And from there, you have better ideas of how you can create a way better product and how you can showcase those missing pieces in the mockups and the description, right? So I think that's a great way to really better understand your category is
powerful. That's powerful. I agree. Like, it's so funny that's such a strategy on Amazon, FBA and stuff like that, is to like go and buy like the product and then feel it out and feel it, touch it, break it, and like figure out like what you can do better. But it's funny, it's Etsy. It's not really well known to do that, but it makes so much sense, right? So if you're a digital designer or you want to be, then it's go and purchase your competitors' listings, use Everbee analytics, find this listing over here that's doing $1,000 a month and basically passive income. Go and buy it for yourself, touch it, feel it, right? See what, like you said, the ratios and all those things, and figure out like if there's ways to improve it, make it better, make it more clear. Like, I don't know, whatever the template is. I mean, you know that world better than I do, like in the digital product space, but that's interesting.
Yeah. And another easier way, let's say if you really, like instead of buying it, if you really don't want to spend money on it, which I think you should, but if you don't, I would just look through the reviews, read all someone's reviews. You're going to have someone saying, oh, this is such a great product, but I wish they had this. And that's a good intel that, oh, maybe I should do this to improve my product compared to the bestseller. So that's another great way to find out what the consumers are wanting from this best product.
Got it. Yeah, I like that. That's a very popular strategy on like other platforms as well, is like go into the negative reviews and like, maybe sometimes if it's physical products, maybe like the shipping time sucks, right? And you're seeing this thing pop up and like, hey, maybe I can like deliver faster or something. I don't know, right? It's like, those are things.
Yeah, like one of them examples, I was helping someone research is they're doing social media templates, and one of the reviews saying, oh, I love these social media templates, but this person's missing Facebook ad templates in the package. Oh, okay, maybe we just do some Facebook ad templates, include it, and make sure we showcase that, right? So little things like that really make you stand out.
Oh my gosh, totally. What do you think like is, I don't know, the biggest mistake that Etsy sellers are making right now? It's like you see like it recurring popping up, like the simple mistake or big mistake or whatever. I know it's such a broad question, but
Yeah,
we talked about pictures already. So maybe aside from pictures.
I know, because I was saying that's going to be the one, but
Me too.
uh, biggest mistake, quitting too early.
Mm,
I mean, that's like a kind of broad one, but I think a lot of people would just put a few and they'd be like, oh, it's not working. And then, that's why I always tell people to have at least 16 listings. I think personally, that's my
16.
magic number is
Why?
16, because on a mobile or web page, it has enough to fill up a whole screen. It's enough for the buyer to be like, oh, this is a complete store, right? If you only have a few, imagine until like walking into a physical store and all the shelves are empty except for like one row,
Yeah, yeah.
right? It's like, yeah. So I personally, that's just what I do. I like to see the whole screen filled out.
Yep.
It looks more professional. Looks like it's actually a complete shop. So, but that's one tip.
I love that. And I agree with that. And I realized that we didn't really talk about like Etsy ranking as much as I wanted to. And I think that it's like the mystery, like how do you get ranked on the first page for like, let's say it's digital. What's a good like search term that's a high demand on like the digital print world? Like this digital print, probably digital download.
Yeah, digital download. I mean, you can do, let's say like a daily plan or something like that.
Daily planner, right? So search
Sure.
bar, daily planner. We all know that one's probably like popping up quite a bit, or a lot of people are searching for that. Like if I create a daily planner today, let's say I create this awesome product. Let's say I have the product well, like I know like this thing is solid based on all my research and everything. I know it's good. How do I get it to rank? Like, how do I get to show up on that first page? What's your thoughts around that?
I think it's just, well, first just see all the make a list of all the highest demand keywords based around that.
Okay.
Play around that and then I just kind of have it same as my titles and tags, and I sprinkle some of it in descriptions, even though I know some people say it's not really might work and might not, but I put it in everywhere.
Cool.
Everywhere, and make sure I categorize it as what I want to rank first, and I kind of repeat that process for a while, and that's kind of just what I do. I mean, cool. I don't know
so
how much more.
No, that's perfect. And so basically, you take that, you put the tags, you optimize for, you obviously use all your tag slots, you use the keyword, all your title, you sprinkle it throughout the description. So those are all important things, by the way. Like the majority, it seems obvious to like you and it seems obvious to like us, but really like a lot of people are just missing some of those things. Okay. So you optimized it with just the same kind of tags and keywords all throughout your listing. You obviously put a great listing together as far as like images go and like well-optimized pictures and stuff like that. You have a great product and cool. And then basically you let Etsy do its work and just let the magic kind of happen, right? If you have good pictures and people are going to click on it and then they're going to convert on it, is that kind of, you just trust the algorithm to kind of work?
Exactly. You said exactly what I was thinking, Cody. So yeah, pretty much word for word. And I think another thing is understanding in like the buyer mindset, okay, how would they search daily planner differently maybe? I mean, I think that's a really broad one, might not be the best example, but like say like you're doing like dog collar or something like that, right? Like something that's more general. Like how can you kind of shift the keywords into a way that people might not be using that you can play into your own advantage? So maybe that's not the best example, but I think a lot of it is playing around with different phrases around that. And you can use a place like Everbee, right? Because when let's say you search daily planner or dog collars, you can see the competitors, all the tags they're using, the titles. And once you get a good idea of what everyone's doing, then you can see which one applies to you and sprinkle them, like you said, into titles and tags and descriptions.
I love it. Okay, cool. And so at the end of the day, you're not gaming Etsy's algorithm, right? Like you were literally putting a fundamentally like sound listing together by using all the fundamentals that you know, and you're letting Etsy basically do its work, read your listing, and then rank you appropriately, and then or give you a chance, right, to rank on the first page for that thing.
Exactly. And
cool.
If you have the good main image, then you'll get those clicks, and then it'll just keep the momentum will keep flying. And then just be patient. You can't get traction right away if you're depending on how competitive your space is, right? But I wouldn't I went set up all this up. A couple of days later, oh, it's not working. Change it all. Right? You gotta like let it marinate a bit instead of just keep trying to change things around every couple of days, because it's not gonna let the algorithm settle. And from my experience, I'm sure you know a lot more about this than I do, but that's what I do.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, like I feel like I hear it a lot and I see it a lot where sometimes people will cannibalize, or I guess just basically just destruct their own listing by like changing it all the time. And they're just like never get traffic, and you never basically let Etsy kind of like run with your listing. So because they're always like trying to optimize the tags too much, right? Over optimizing. And so typically I would recommend, and I've seen this taught too by not just me, I didn't make this up, is like you copy the listing and then go make the changes on the new listing. So you give Etsy a chance to like run with that new listing, and it gives fresh data to it, into the algorithm, and see how that performs. But what are your thoughts on that? Do you ever copy listing and then make the changes, or do you always just modify the actual listing that's not performing well?
Even though the product is the same product I'm selling in two listings?
Yeah.
Oh, I've actually never, to be honest, like if it wasn't working, I would just copy it, change it, and post a new one and delete the old one, right? Is that what you mean?
What I'm saying, yeah.
I've actually never done that before, to be honest. Cool. Yeah, I've always just modified the existing one, but actually that makes more sense to do that. So, so you get a fresh start. You know what? I'm actually going to try that.
Yeah, let me know what your results are.
Yeah.
No, that's why I love having these conversations, because like, yeah, to learn different strategies, and sometimes it doesn't always work for what works for somebody, doesn't always work for somebody else. So
yeah, because I mean, if you create a new one, you're not going to have the history of the favorites on your listing.
True. Assuming it has favorites.
True. You're right. Sorry. Yeah. Assuming that. Yeah. If it didn't, then yeah, I think if you have no data behind it, no reviews linked to that Etsy, that listing, then totally do it. I guess I was thinking like, would I do it for my top sellers? I don't know.
Yeah, right. It's like, probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
No, that's interesting. Okay. So, and I noticed that, I was curious if you noticed this too, is like, I think we all know that like Etsy rotates listings, right? Like sometimes you're like, let's run with the digital download type of search term again. Someone types in digital download, and we all know it's a really high search term. And sometimes we see like, we obviously see the ads listings up there, right? But then we also see like one that deserves to be there is like 16,000 reviews and then 5,000 reviews, right? So these listings that deserve to be there. And then we see this one that has like one review, and it's a brand new list. We look at Everbee and it's like, oh, this thing was listed like literally 0 months ago, right? It just got listed. How the heck did they get on the first page for a highly search term, with a brand new listing? Like, have you noticed that also? And what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, I think, I honestly don't know. I think it's like, they just like to kind of test things out, and their AI is getting a lot better in terms of what they think the buyer wants. But I think it's a way for them to just to see how well these new listings go. It's kind of like TikTok algorithm, where they kind of like test it out with a certain amount of audience. Like theirs is like 300 people, right? And then it's like, okay, cool. Are you getting any clicks, any impressions, or any hovers? From there, they can really try ranking you. So I think that's great for new sellers.
Yeah,
because they're still giving new sellers a chance. And at the end of the day, I think it's great because you can be a top seller, but if your items aren't relevant anymore, then you shouldn't deserve to be at the top just because you have authority. So I think it's great for new sellers that you have a chance to stand up next to top sellers. So if your product's good, then you will do good no matter how saturated you are and everything. So I think it's great.
I love that, man. I think that's a great perspective to have on it. That's how I view it too, is like, this is a good thing. It's that they kind of rotate and they sprinkle in new listings on there. It's good for like new sellers, but also just like, it could be old sellers, like older sellers that have new listings too. It's like, if you compare it to Amazon, and I don't know if you have experience selling on Amazon FBA, but it's like, you try to rank on like a highly searched keyword, like you're gonna have to spend a lot of money, and you still might not be ranked. Like it's extremely difficult to be ranked for something. Like, so you have to like somehow figure out a way to like not hack it, but like there's strategies built around this. Whereas Etsy gives you a chance to rank. So if you, assuming you convert and you get those clicks and you actually convert, like they want to show you again, and they want to show you again. They want to show you again, right? It's in their interest too.
100%. I love it. And for them, it's smart too, because if they're going to just keep giving priority to top sellers, well, I'm sure that at some point they do, like to some degree. but then your products and everything becomes dull because everything becomes outdated, right? So I think it's great to have these new people coming in and new listings, and so I think it's a win-win for everyone.
Yeah, totally. I agree with that. On your Etsy ads, and I'm not sure how much you actually look at the Etsy ads data, but do you pay attention to like, when do you know when to shut an ad off for, let's say, your digital products, for example? Like, when do you shut an ad off and just let it ride? Like, how do you view Etsy ads?
For me, I do check it regularly, not like every day, but like,
Every 7 days.
enough. Yeah. And if something is, I go listing by listing. Obviously, it's not like I don't look at the overall number. I do, but you really got to break it down because some listings usually work better than others. So let's say if something is I'm spent like twice as much on ad spend. That's just my own preference thing. If it's twice as much and it's gone like thousands of impressions and clicks, so I know for me, I'm like, okay, that's enough for me to know that I'm gonna cut this one out. Like that's enough for me. Okay, I think that's done, and then I'll let the other ones ride. So yeah,
I love it. No, that's perfect. I take the same approach. I look at like things on the 7-day type of rolling period. Like every 7 days, I'll like go in there and look at it, and I look by line also. And I think that's important for everyone to know too. You don't just you look at your overall budget, like what you spent and then what revenue you brought in. But like, that's just like one data point, but really want to look at like the breakdown of each listing. And Etsy changed this a little bit. So you actually have to go into like your manage advertised listings to see this data now. So some people think it's just gone, but it's really not. It's actually just have to go into a different spot, right?
Yeah. Each listing and each listings, each tag or keyword within the listing. So there's also toggles within each tag. It's something that I think is new. And then, because sometimes you might have, let's say you're doing daily planners or daily planners, right? Daily planners are doing really well, but then one of the word that's showing the ad on is daily. And that, if you do searching daily to seeing daily planners, obviously they don't really want that because it's so broad. So, but that one's taking all your impressions and that's costing you the most. Then you want to toggle that one little.
I didn't realize you could do that. That's brand new then?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it is very, very recent.
Cool. Okay, so you actually toggle that off, that specific keyword. Oh, it's a negative. That's the negative though. Yeah, that's newer.
Yeah, so I would toggle those things with, so a listing, and within the listing, there's each toggle for each keyword.
That's interesting. That's super good to know for like myself and for others too. I always kind of like subscribe to thinking of like, if the ads break even, they're doing their job, especially on a digital product. Like if I'm breaking even on digital product, like I'm winning because I'm bringing traffic to my store and they'll probably convert to something else, or they're going to show that listing again to that 100%. Shopper, right? Wow, I really appreciate Brandon coming on and sharing his story. Be sure to check out his YouTube channel and the link in the description below where he shows more free strategies and tips on actually growing your Etsy shop. Second, if you guys aren't using Everbee yet, go sign up for free in the link in the description below. You guys need to be using data to make decisions in your business, okay? So it'll help you find more and the best products to sell on Etsy. So go and do that with Everbee. And finally, what did you guys learn, from today's video? I'm really curious. What was the biggest takeaway that kind of made you say, aha, let me know in the comment section below. And I really appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching the video and I'll talk to you soon.